It's a brand new racing season, off to a wild and crazy start at Daytona, where new rules did or did not contribute to today's 500. NASCAR's newest attraction, creating a media frenzy. I wonder what old DW thinks about all that. And we'll consult with Robin Miller about the dramatic new car design that has triggered a huge debate in the IndyCar world. And the new IRL CEO who will ultimately sort it all out. There's a lot of new in the racing world, but one thing hasn't changed. Year in, year out, Wind Tunnel is here to talk about it.
Tunnel with Dave Despain is presented by Golden Corral.
Hey there, hi there, I missed you. Welcome to Wind Tunnel 2010. We have a bit of a new look here and there, a couple of new features here and there, nothing major. Same big old self-centered TV windbag hosting the party, to quote, again, one of my all-time favorite Wind Tunnel emails. Tonight, what is special, we have old DW. Darrell Waltrip is going to give us the post-Daytona 500 lowdown. Robin Miller is going to talk about this radical new Delta Wing IndyCar proposal and more. Timothy Peters, who won that thrilling Daytona truck race, will be our last call. And we hope to hear from you about whatever has you fired up. Contact info has not changed, 866-W-TUNNEL for the phone calls, windtunnelspeedtv.com for emails. The live chat is up and running. They're already complaining because I don't have the red shirt on. That's at speedtv.com. Did I mention that? At an hour from now, after the TV show, we will again offer up Wind Tunnel Extra live via streaming video at your full-service website, speedtv.com. My telephone guest on Extra, we're working on that. We're trying to get a drag racing guy. They just run the big opening. Hey, this just in. We have John Force. Cool. We're going to have John Force on the phone during the Wind Tunnel Extra. Let us kick things off with the first edition of Hot Topics for the brand new season. A season marked by new rules. NASCAR now allows 3 attempts at a green-white checker finish, and it was on the second of those attempts that Jamie McMurray surged to the front, then held on to win the 52nd Daytona 500 with Junior on his heels. Junior having come from 10th to 2nd in a lap. Wow. Much more with Waltrip shortly. Amid huge hype, Danica Patrick's NASCAR nationwide debut ended in a crash. Otherwise, I'm confident Junior getting upside down would have been at the head of the highlight reel. Oh, by the way, Tony Stewart won for the 5th time in 6 years. Wow. Ryan Villapoto leading wire-to-wire in last night's Anaheim Supercross. He's now just 3 points behind Ryan Dungey and Josh Hill. They are tied for the series lead, best Supercross title fight in years. And the World Rally Championship Series opened in Sweden, where this guy, Mikko Hirvonen, beat the reigning champ Sebastian Loeb. Your XF1 world champ Kimi Räikkönen made his rally debut and ended up in a snowbag, 30th. Can't show you the video, but the NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing season opened this weekend. It's your 50th anniversary of the Winter Nationals at Pomona, California, and the winners are Mike Edwards in Pro Stock. John Force beat Ron Capps in the Funny Car Final and will be on Wind Tunnel Extra tonight on the phone. And Scott Dixon won the Top Fuel, Larry Dixon, I'm sorry, over Kalita in the Top Fuel Final. And even though we're off during the NASCAR offseason, the emails keep pouring in and we keep reading them. And here is my off-season favorite. It says, my mother died, my dogs lost. Oh, wait, something new. This is my favorite email, and we have a little fat guy to tell you so. My mother died, my dogs lost, I'm laid off, the bank took my house, and my wife's in bed with my best friend. What could be worse? 3 months with no wind tunnel, that's what. Hurry back, Dave, says Freddie in Modesto, California, who I'm pretty sure was making a joke there. But on the outside chance, Freddie, that all that stuff has actually happened to you, we're going to fire off our first bobblehead of the year just to cheer the poor guy up. All right, I want to get you up to date on what's been happening during the off season, and the duck better duck. Check this out. Check this out. We're going to start with Formula One getting a new point system. Greater reward for the winner. Justus Schumacher comes out of retirement looking for his 8th world championship. And how about that French judge throwing out the lifetime ban of former Renault boss Flavio Briatore for telling me Nelson Piquet Jr. to wreck on purpose. Piquet drummed out of Formula One, wound up in the ARCA race at Daytona, launching his stock car career by door slamming Danica into the grass. You did hear about Danica going stock car racing, right? Part-timer for Junior Motorsports, and then she'll keep her IndyCar day job for the next 3 years. On the other end, Tony George is gone, shown the door by the family who run the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, resigned his leadership of the IRL, and shut down his IndyCar team. Steve Kinzer now drives for Tony Stewart's World of Outlaws team, replacing his son Craig, who now drives the Kinzer family car. On to road racing, Honda cut back to a one ALMS entry. That's the Highcroft Racing P2 car, ending the relationship with Gilles de Ferran and scuttling P1 plans. Grand Am Action Express Racing, an underdog team, in its series debut, won the Rolex 24 at Daytona. That's nice work. And early season crashes, including this one in which they crashed together, have knocked both James Stewart and Chad Reed out of contention for the 2010 Supercross Championship. And with that, we look ahead. We got Darrell Waltrip coming up. He's going to join us shortly with his take on the Daytona 2010 activities. Call now if you have a question for Darrell or an opinion about the recently completed 500. Later, Robin Miller will tell us about this new Delta Wing IndyCar proposal and the controversy that surrounds it. Wind Tunnel 2010. Stay tuned.
Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain is presented by Golden Corral's Applewood Grill. It's all part of the legendary buffet, all for around $10.
Prepare to face the inferno as the high-flying renegades of Supercross go bar to bar on speed. Josh Hill, Ryan Dungey, and the world's greatest riders torch the track, defy gravity, and ignite a firestorm of high-speed competition. With a burning need to top the podium. Don't miss Monster Energy AMA Supercross from Indianapolis, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Once again this year, I'm flattered that after a very long broadcast day at Daytona, a particularly long day today, your Fox NASCAR analyst Darrell Waltrip takes time to join us on the Wind Tunnel. DW, welcome back to the show. Thanks for doing this again this year. We always appreciate it.
Well, you know, you've always been one of my heroes, and always liked working with you. And, you know, today was a kind of a special day, really, I thought. I loved the racing down here today, and all week the race has been exciting. And, of course, this was the Daytona 520, you know. It wasn't just the Daytona 500. Got put a little bonus coverage in there at the end for all those folks that stayed tuned in, and for all the folks who are here in the grandstand, we give them a little extra coverage today.
We did indeed. We'll get to that. I've always believed that racing is best when it's unpredictable. How many of the experts down there picked Jamie McMurray to win the Daytona 500? What did you think of that outcome?
You know, he ran really well in the shootout. He ran pretty good in his qualifying race. Would I have picked him to win the race? No, I thought Harvick had the car to beat all day long, and of course he didn't win. But you know, it's kind of interesting, Dave, when you think about it. Jamie Mack goes back to Ganassi. He won for Ganassi the first race he drove when he replaced Sterling, and here he is basically back in the car for the first time down here, and he wins the first time out. So there's some owner, some driver combinations that seem to click, and it looks like Chip was able to get the most out of McMurray, and all of them looked, everybody down here was crying when the race was over. Jamie was crying, Chip was crying, all of us guys in the booth, we were all crying. It was a very, very long day and a very emotional day as well.
I want to add my congratulations to Chip. He gets his first 500 win as an owner. That matches the achievement of his old rival Roger Penske a couple of years back. I thought you guys did a great job filling the time during the long delays for the track repairs, which were a bummer. I'm wondering now your take. You alluded to it, the fact that we got some overtime there. What's your take on the new multiple tries at the green-white checker rules? Good idea?
It's a great idea. I just thought it was ironic that they said, they could have said a couple of 10, we get one, we might get two, but they chose three, and I thought today we were going to need all three of them the way things were going. But nonetheless, everything that they've tried to do in the offseason, whether it's improve the cars to make the racing better, kind of pull back the officiating on the drivers all the time, trying to keep them in line, or the new rule. That rule came about because of the Budweiser shootout. When the cars wrecked up there in the corner, the race was over. And I talked to Mike Helen about it, and what Mike's explanation was, in any race that we go to, if there's a wreck before we get to the white flag, if we have another try, people that were involved in that wreck have a chance to come on pit road, put 4 tires on, maybe beat the fenders out, and get back out there and get a better finish than they would have gotten if the race was over at the moment the caution came out. So from that perspective, I like that. I like that idea. And the second thing was the fans. I mean, they wanted to see these races end under green. I want to see them end under green. That's the money lap. That's the lap we all come to see. I hate it when the car's coming off of turn 4 and the caution comes out and the field's frozen. You can't do anything. So all in all, everything that NASCAR did in the offseason, Davis, has been spot on. They listened to the media. They listened to the fans. They listened to a lot of criticism from everybody out there, but they reacted to it in a very positive way.
I'll throw this out and get a quick reaction for you. I got a commercial break coming. For all those people who claim NASCAR will do anything to help Junior win, Junior's second. There's a wreck in the back of the field. NASCAR let the race finish rather than throwing the caution and giving Junior one more chance to win. I think that should be pointed out this evening, and that Junior did a whale of a job in a lap there. That was crazy.
You know what was crazy? We had that red flag, and he's sitting down there, and, of course, we were looking for things to do, so I dialed him up on the radio, in-car radio. And it was obvious. He had a fast car all day. That thing would haul the mail down the back straightaway into the third turn. I'd seen that time and time again. I told him, man, I said, June, you got the fastest car here down that back straightaway. And he said, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I heard
and
that.
I thought, what do you mean, man? Yeah. I said, you got a fast car. Well, at the end of the race, he must have believed me because he came through there like an Earnhardt. He came through there like his old man.
Yep.
Bouncing off of people, car loose, sideways, going everywhere. I thought he might pull it off, but come home second, that was pretty impressive.
We're going to head to break right now with our first Golden Corral question of the week for 2010. We have multiple questions of the week tonight, and here is the first one. Did NASCAR's changes make the racing better at Daytona? Call 866-WTUNNEL, email windtunnel@speedtv.com. We want to know the effect of NASCAR's rule, equipment, and officiating changes in your mind on the quality of the Daytona 500. As Jamie McMurray celebrates the big victory, Darrell Waltrip will continue the post-race breakdown on the other side of the break, including, of course, the really important stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Danica Mania comes to Daytona, obscuring what I thought was a much more impressive rookie debut by that Formula One kid nobody talked about. And later, does this strike you as the future of IndyCar racing or, quote, a futuristic sex toy, unquote? We'll get Robin Miller's perspective. Stay tuned. Remember, Wind Tunnel Extra, top of the hour. We've got John Force on the phone, and we will be talking about Danica Mania. Whether you're sick of the hype or hot on Danica, here's your chance to sound off. Wind Tunnel Extra starts at 10 Eastern, only at speedtv.com. My guest is Darrell Waltrip. And, Darrell, I'm going to let you respond to this email, which I have to say and preface is probably representative of the majority of the Danica feedback we got here at Wind Tunnel, maybe the tunnel heads are just a bunch of grumps. I don't know. Anyway, here's what it says. I suggest Wind Tunnel become a Danica-free zone. No hyping Danica, since her performance doesn't warrant it. She is a mediocre driver competing in a series way above her ability. That's the opinion of Frank in Dublin, Ohio. I gather from what I heard you saying on the air today that you would disagree with that. Give me your take.
Well, I got to meet her, and I've had a great weekend down here. I met Sarah Palin today, and that was a real thrill. And then certainly meeting Danica, I'd read about her, I'd seen her on TV commercials, and I agree. I was a skeptic. I didn't think she had the physical size to handle one of our cars, and I didn't feel like she had probably the ability. But when she got in that ARCA race, and I told her, we talked after the race, I said, today everybody was in the same boat. You didn't know what to do, they didn't know what to do. So y'all kind of complimented each other. But you're going in deep into the pool yesterday in that nationwide race, and it's full of sharks. And you saw there's a big difference in how she ran yesterday and how she ran in the ARCA race. But Dave, she's a racer. The one thing that I realized is I listened to all the talk on the radio, her and Tony Jr., and talking about the car and how she debriefed. And then when I saw her lose control of the car here in the tri-oval, and she fought the wheel, let go of the wheel, fought the wheel like an IndyCar driver would do, I was very impressed, not with so much to save, but she went all the way to the back. They came in, worked on the car, put tires on it, and she charged back up to the front to get that sixth-place finish. She's very aggressive. She's very talented. There is hype, but she deserves it. I mean, she's a good-looking young lady, and she's marketing herself very well, but she also has a lot of ability.
We will discuss in more detail on Wind Tunnel Extra whether or not being good-looking should count as much as it seems to in this case in terms of her credentials. But let me ask you one nobody noticed. No more drafting experience than Danica. The white #1 truck, Formula One cast-off Nelson Piquet Jr., changing lanes like a veteran last night in the truck race. Had as many opportunities as Danica to get caught up in the big one. Instead came home a sixth-place finish in his very first NASCAR race, and nobody noticed. Any reaction to that?
Yeah, he was in the ARCA race as well, and in fact, I think it was he and Danica were kind of. No, that was Ricky Carmichael. I'm sorry. He did a great job last night. And for a guy that had never been in a truck, Dave, race car drivers are race car drivers. If you have talent, you can drive anything. You may not be able to drive anything to victory circle, but you get on the racetrack, you're not lost. You have track presence. You have an idea about where you want to go and what you want to do. So, if you can drive a Formula One car, I'm pretty sure you can find your way around Daytona. Basically, you just hold it wide open and follow the lines. If you don't know how to do anything else, just stay on the yellow line. And so I don't think this is the most difficult place. Next week, when we get to California, 2-mile super speedway, you got to hold that thing wide open off into those pretty flat turns. That will be a better judge of talent and ability than I think here at Daytona was. Fast cars always pay off here at Daytona.
We'll do a commercial break on that note, continue our conversation with Darrell Waltrip, who's had a busy week down at Daytona and the run-up to the 52nd Daytona 500, which ended with Jamie McMurray in victory lane.
Lots of numbers go through my head in a race. There's my position, the RPM, how many laps are left, but lately it's just this one number, $5 foot long. No matter how loud the engine is, I just can't get it out of my head.
That's because now at Subway, any regular footlong is just $5. That's right, you made them famous, so to thank you, we're making any delicious regular footlong a $5 footlong. Race in today for your favorite.
Subway, eat fresh.
Welcome back. My guest is Darrell Waltrip. Time to get the fans involved here. I've got Bill on the line in, is it Halifax, Massachusetts, Bill?
Yes, it is, Dave. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind tonight? You got DW listening in.
Well, first I want to know how proud he is of his brother having two cars finishing in the top 6 tonight.
Darrell, you want?
Very proud. Yeah, and I'm very proud of Michael. He's put together. He went through a tough time, man, getting that team up and running, but he's got it running like a sewing machine now. Pat Trison and that crowd is doing good, and with Truex and Rudeman every week. Rudeman comes up at the end of the day, and you say Rudeman finished the top 5. You say, how'd he do that? He's just a good kid too.
You know, I'm wondering if Martin Truex, if he had any thoughts in his heart when he watched the number 1 car, which was his, win the 500.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, because when the race was over with, he drove up beside of Jamie, and I'm not sure if he put a donut in his door or not, but I think he may have. But you know, anytime you see your old car doing well, you do everything you can to try to get up there and compete or beat the car that you used to drive. But hey, McMurray was just that car was really, really fast. The Childress Earnhardt engines were putting out a lot of steam down here. All those cars, whether it was Montoya's or the 3 Childress cars, all those cars had a lot of steam on the hood, and they were fast.
Let's go back, Darrell, to the subject of rules, and then we'll circle back to Daytona. NASCAR is going to do away with the wings on the Cup cars. They're going to go with the traditional spoiler. Is that just a cosmetic change in response to the fact that the fans don't seem to like the looks of the wing, or is it actually going to make a significant difference in the way these cars behave? I mean, isn't downforce, whether you make it with a wing or make it with a spoiler?
Yeah, I think the spoiler is coming back by popular demand. One of the things I've said about the COT all along, and that's just a name that's stuck to that car, the car of tomorrow, but it's the car we race today. I said all along the car would look more like a stock car if it didn't have a wing on it. And quite honestly, Dave, that wing on the back of our cars is not really a very effective wing. A wing has to have air going over it and under it. And if you look at a wing on our cars, it sits right down almost on top of the deck lid. So basically all we got back there is a great big old tall spoiler with end plates on it. I think the cars are going to race much better with the spoiler. And the other thing, if you look at the wing, it sticks out past the back of the car. So when that car gets around backward, there's just this natural tendency for the wing to get air under it and pick the back of the car up. And I think that's another thing that they've learned, and another reason why they want to get rid of it. I think the spoiler will be much safer, and I think the car will be much more a better-looking race car with the blade on it.
This will be tough because you got about a minute. Pretend for a moment that you're in the corner office of that big new NASCAR building across the street from the track. You're running the show. Any other things that need changing? Or is NASCAR racing good to go for now? Well,
I've said all along that when you see the new Nationwide car, it is the second generation of the COT. It's the new Nationwide car is the fix for everything that's wrong with the COT. And so eventually I think we will get to a car that looks like that, with a much nicer nose, a much more attractive car, and a much more effective car. This car, the COT we got now, it reminds me of cell phone technology. Remember those old cell phones we first had? They carried them in a suitcase?
Yeah,
and you had to almost ring them up, you know? And now today we got these little bitty jobs that, you know, that you can carry in your shirt pocket. Well, that's the COT, the old cell phone. And the new Nationwide car is more like a new cell phone.
Evolution. I need a commercial break. On that note, we'll have Robin Miller still ahead on this radical new Delta Wing IndyCar. You want to talk about a crazy-looking car? Wow. Call 866-WTUNNEL if you have a question or comment for our resident rabble-rouser Miller.
Friday, we're there as NASCAR treks west of Fontana, and nobody puts you in the center of the action like Speed. Live coverage begins Friday at 2 Eastern with Nationwide Series practice, and don't miss NASCAR Trackside live at 8:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Now, NASCAR on Speed is always on with NASCAR on Speed Broadband, a free super site for the hardcore fan. Get the best of NASCAR on Speed, plus exclusive videos you can't get anywhere else. Log on now to the video section of SpeedTV.com or NASCAR.com.
our ever so popular Super 7 Sweep Fantasy game is back following 7 different racing series. Unique, fun, easy. Pick 7 drivers every week, score points, win cool prizes. We award prizes constantly. You can play for a week, a month, all year to win a very cool grand prize. And what would that be? Patience, my friends, patience. Let us start with the February prize, a motor books trio, including the new book release Speedway, Auto Racing's Ghost Tracks, including the story of North Wilkesboro Speedway, among others. You get the 2010 NASCAR Drivers Calendar and the Crash Kings Rallying DVD with some tasty carnage. And you don't have to win. You can also buy those at speedtv.com. Ah, yes, but the big enchilada grand prize for the player who scores the most points during the championship portion of the game, our chase, September to November. It is a serious racing simulator. This is going to make yours the most popular house in the racing neighborhood, win the Super 7 championship, and our friends at Fanatec will hook you up with a Rennsport Racing cockpit complete with Porsche 911 Turbo S steering wheel and aluminum Club Sport pedals. Cool hardware, just half the story. Add a 1-year VIP membership to iRacing.com. You get access to tracks from Daytona to Lime Rock to Stafford Springs, all kind of cool cars. Register now at speedtv.com and play the game. Darrell, Darrell Waltrip with us live from Daytona. Let me take you back to the issue of Earnhardt Jr. He had a great run today. Is this a make or break season? I mean, if he goes out and finishes 20th in points again, will he finish those last 2 years with Hendrick? What do you foresee in Junior's long and short-term future?
You know, I talked to Lance McGrew yesterday morning about the car because it didn't look that good in the qualifying race. And I said, man, what's wrong with the car? And he said, nothing. He said, we just were trying a few things. That seems to be a problem for them. They keep trying a few things, trying to find things that Junior really likes. Yeah, I tell you, with the organization that Kelly is building with Junior Motorsports and knowing the Earnhardts the way I do, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, at some point in time, he's going to say, look, I think I'll just go do my own thing with my sister. That's kind of where they're most comfortable, I think. He's got Tony Jr. and Sr. over there running the place and Kelly. But I know Rick has put a lot of effort into trying to get Junior where he needs to be this year. Listen, the driver is the nucleus of the team. He's the quarterback. The team gets its energy from the driver. If the driver's up, the team's up. How many times have you seen an old car not running back in the pack somewhere and the pit stops are terrible, but all of a sudden you get up there and start leading the race and the pit stops are better and the attitudes are better and the performance is better and the results are better? That's what Junior needs to do. He needs to get that. He needs to drive like he did today. I love that last few laps of the race. He needs to get his head up, not walk around with his head down, get his head up, be proud of who he is, be the man. Because to be the man, to beat the man, you got to be the man. And I think he can do what Jimmy Johnson and his teammates have done if he just gets his attitude right and gets his heart and soul into it. And this is a year to find out if he's got it in him or not.
You think he has the potential to be a 4-time champion? Or did I read something extra into what you just said?
Oh no. And I would say, you know, he's 30.
Did we just lose Darrell? Yeah, I'm not sure he meant what we think he said or meant or to say.
Oh, yeah. Now we're
back.
Now.
Uh-oh. He's intermittent. There's nothing worse than an intermittent analyst. How much time we got in the segment? You want to go ahead and take the commercial break, or you want me to take a phone call? All right, let's go ahead and get the commercial in. I think what we'll probably do next is talk to Robin Miller, who should be standing by up in Indianapolis to talk IndyCar racing. And, yeah, there he is. Miller, if you're intermittent, we're going to kick your butt right on out of here. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Wind Tunnel. The cast has expanded down at Daytona. We apparently got everything plugged back in, and we have been joined by the winning car owner. We have Darrell Waltrip and Chip Ganassi standing by down at the Big D after the 52nd running of the Daytona 500, which Chip won. Chip, congratulations. Nice piece of work.
David, thank you very much. Thanks, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. Darrell, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes with Chip. Then I want to keep Chip around to talk about IndyCar racing. So give him your best question.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I was here 2 years ago when Roger won, and it was his first Daytona 500. With all the Indy wins, and here at the 24-hour race, I mean, you've dominated this thing. put this win in perspective to those Indy 24 hours, all the other things you've done. How big is this win?
It's my new favorite win. I can tell you that for sure, Darrell.
Well,
it's my new favorite one, without a doubt.
You know, Johnny Morris, I guess you're good friends with Johnny.
He's a great guy. I wish he was sitting here. I left him in Victory Circle to be here with you.
Oh, you'll never get him out.
I know.
He'll probably
best.
celebrate the rest of the week.
Yes, he is. Yes, he will.
Well, congratulations. And McMurray, I mean, you picked him up when Sterling got hurt, stuck him in the car at Charlotte, and magic.
And tonight was our second first win with us. It's the first thing I said when I stuck my car in. I said, congratulations on your second first win.
It's his last second chance.
That's right. I mean, yeah, and it was great. It was just great to have him back. I mean, he became available, and our team. You know, I've always said we're going to take when we have a driver position available, we always take the best driver that's available. And Jamie was available, and we went right after him. He was our man.
Why all the tears? I mean, everybody.
Well, yeah,
we're crying upstairs. You know,
it's emotional. You know what it's like about all the effort that goes into something like this, and all the drama and all the years of trying, and you know best, whatever, 17 tries or whatever, and how many, you just believe me, your emotions get the best of you at particular times, and that was certainly one of them.
I looked down there and I saw Tony Glover. He's been here before. He has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
But I saw Steve Meal.
Yeah.
And Bono.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have given their heart and soul.
And Darrell, I want to say this. Everybody, our team, everybody that's ever worked in our organization can take some stock in this win tonight because it's on their shoulders. And whether you're still with our team or not, you're part of this organization. And I want to thank all those people that this was built on their shoulders and their sweat. Believe me, and that's a lot of people and a lot of companies, a lot of partners, and everybody can take a little stock in this one. Let me tell you.
What about Juan? What was his call? How did he feel?
He was in Victory Lane. He came to Victory Lane and congratulated all of us.
Yeah.
He was excited. Sure he was. He knows what it means for the team, and it's good for him, too.
Hey,
well, it's fun to see somebody win their first Daytona 500. I know what it means, like you said, and get that big Harley Earl trophy and all that stuff. That's pretty cool, man.
Yes, it is.
Darrell,
congratulations, and that's all I got.
I got to jump in at that point. Chip, if you're cool with it, you're right in the middle of two huge stories, and the second one is the one we plan to cover right after the commercial break. If you're willing to stick around, I want to ask you about that wild new IndyCar. Darrell, thank you very much as always. You did a great job all day long. We'll continue with Robin Miller and the wild-looking IndyCar. Quick reminder that next week it's Lynn St. James talking about women in racing, Nelson Piquet Jr. on his NASCAR debut, and Ryan Dungey from the Supercross world. We'll be right back. As the new IndyCar Series looks for a new race car design for 2012, several designs unveiled this week. But the real shocker, it was the Delta Wing concept unveiled at the Chicago Auto Show on Wednesday. The car designed by Target Ganassi racing engineer Ben Bowlby, and it has support from most of the current team owners and from Firestone. Also on hand, IndyCar champ Scott Dixon, Dario Franchitti, the new IndyCar CEO Randy Bernard, and our own Robin Miller. Chip Ganassi has graciously agreed to stick around to answer one quick question from Daytona. Chip, you say that this car, which your guy designed, is more than just a prototype. It's a different way of doing business. What does that mean before I let you get back to the celebration?
Well, thanks, Dave. It's here's what it means. It's half the weight, half the drag, half the cost, half the horsepower, and it goes the same speed. That's what you need to know about that car. It'll still race around at 230 miles an hour, but it's, like I said, half the weight, half the drag, half the cost.
Can you make many odds on whether it will ultimately become the 2012 car?
Yeah, who knows? I sure hope it gets some traction. I mean, I think that we need a shot in the arm in that series, and we think that car is something that the owners want and something that the teams need, and and we'd like to give it a shot. Yes.
All right, first things first, you go get back to the celebration. Thanks very much for giving us that extra bit of time, and congratulations again on a great job by your guy, Jamie McMurray. With that, let us bring in our IndyCar expert, Robin Miller, who's been standing by up in Indy. Robin, good to see you. I missed our little get-togethers here all year. The new car has taken some real heat on the IndyCar board at SpeedTV.com. Futuristic sex toy, one of those descriptions that caught my eye. And some of the critics have called you out specifically for your involvement in the project. So, A, what is your involvement? And B, what do you think of the car?
My involvement? Well, I mean, Chip called me up and said, come have lunch. I went up to a shop, and here were all these car owners, and they said, here's Ben Bowlby, and here's the model. And they said, sign this confidentiality agreement. We're going to show you the plan for 2012. So I did. And I shocked Michael Andretti and kept it a secret for 5.5 months and didn't write about it or talk about it. I just kept saying on my little mailbag every Wednesday, it's very different, it's very radical. And what do I think of it is, it's a culture shock. But the IndyCar needs the culture changed. I mean, it's in big trouble. I mean, there's not enough cars or money or sponsors. We've all heard this before. I don't know if Ben's car is going to be the answer. I don't know if it's going to go around the corner. I mean, we won't know that till August. But I do know this. All his other ideas need to be embraced. A global 4-cylinder engine, which might get 3 or 4 manufacturers. Chip's already heard from a couple of them. Cheaper cars by 50%. Cars built in Indianapolis instead of Italy. There's so many good things about Ben's proposal. When Chip says it's just not the car, that's what he means. It's just not the car. It's the whole overall concept. And Ben Bowlby deserves a tip of the hat for doing some serious thinking about what can make this thing better and sustain it.
Well, he had to run, and I didn't really get the answer that I was looking for there. I don't think he told me why he thought the car was a good idea. What I'm curious is this business where he says that what this is going to do is put another layer of engineering expertise from the paddock between the sanctioning body and the car manufacturers. I don't know what that means. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think it's a nice way of saying the owners are tired of getting raked over the coals by Dallara and Honda. Here's the thing. How can a car that's 7 years old still cost $650,000? An engine that's detuned leases for $1.3 million. I think here's what the deal is. I think they all got together and said, look, the IRL hasn't done anything about lowering the costs. We've been sitting here for 4 or 5 years. We have no plan for the future. We keep getting pushed back every year. So we're going to take things in our own hands, and we're going to try and come up with a plan that's going to work for everybody. And the interesting thing is, this is where you need the engineers and the manufacturers to sit down with Brian Barnhart and say, this is what we need to be looking at. This is what we need to do. Barnhart's not an engineer. He doesn't have any expertise in that area, and neither does the rest of his tech staff. They need to listen to people like Ben Bowlby. And I think the thing that's interesting is Ben Bowlby says all the time, this isn't going to be a spec car, because spec car, I mean, the Indy 500, the life has been sucked out of it by spec car racing. How do you get it back? You get it back by making it more available to more people. And all the Delta Wing design is, Dave, is a way to go about building the car. And Bowlby said over and over again, this isn't exclusive. This is open to anybody that has the expertise to build race cars and parts. We want this to be a community project. The more the merrier. We don't want the cars to look alike.
Okay, I'm a little confused about that. They have been working on this, mock-up for a long time, and then sort of abruptly this week, just before this car was unveiled, we heard from Dallara and Swift with drawings of what they might have to offer in 2012. So back to your point about spec cars, what are we talking about? Are we talking about maybe Delta Wing? You can run a Delta Wing car. You can run this Dallara drawing. You can run this Swift drawing. What? Or will it be different people building the Delta Wing car? How is this not a spec car series anymore?
Well, I don't know it won't be a spec car series. I think in a perfect world, you just hit it. I want all of them to be able to build a car. And they keep talking about, well, it's too expensive to have more than one manufacturer. More expensive than it's been the last 7 years? Give me a break. They haven't cared about how much it costs to go racing. And I think the thing that's interesting about this whole concept is, Dave, is that 16th and Georgetown was built on free thinking and on new ideas and things like that. And I think, like I said to Bowlby the other day, Ben, what if everybody, what if Dallara and Swift, they want to build a car, can you all run together? And he wants to control the horsepower by fuel flow. So if you had a 6-cylinder engine or 8-cylinder or a 4-cylinder and you had different cars and it was controlled by fuel flow, I mean, give it a try. That's why this next set of rules is the most important thing that's going to happen maybe in the history of IndyCar racing, because it's teetering on the brink right now, and it's got to have some smart people making smart decisions to keep this thing moving forward and to get more people involved.
We saw the Dallara, the red car, the Swift, the black car. The Dallara clearly an evolution of what they're building now, and the Swift a less radical departure for sure than the Delta Wing. What about the fan reaction? Should we take what we read on the internet seriously? I so rarely do. Should we take it seriously in this case? Do you expect that this is just too radical, that the fans can't get their heads around this?
I think the old school people like me are just appalled. And I've got about 300 letters in my mailbag already for this week. And it's probably about, it's closer to 50-50 than I thought it would be. There's a lot of people who are like, this is what needs to happen. A clean sheet of paper, let's start from scratch. Other people are like, I'll never watch IndyCar racing again. You can't do this to us. So let's say this. Let's say they all get together and sit down in a room and say, you know what? Let's take Ben's, a lot of his concepts, but let's put them to Swift's 23A design, which is a pretty cool looking car. And let's go down the road and try and open this thing up a little bit. At least you'd have a chance maybe to get more people involved. And I think that's, to me, Dave, that's the key to the whole thing is how do you get the thing to grow? There were more people at the Chicago Auto Show, more magazines, national magazines, to look at an IndyCar the week of the Daytona 500. IndyCar was a big buzzword. Whether it was criticism or praise, people were talking about it. And I think that's important, not to lose sight. It's become so irrelevant to have an IndyCar anymore, and they all look the same, and nobody seems to care. So how do you get people to care again? And more importantly, is it more important to get new young fans who might think this car is zoomy, or keep the ones you got now?
All right, Miller, thank you very much. Keep us posted on that. We're going to go to commercial break by adding this to our list of Golden Corral questions of the week. What do you think of the Delta Wing Project's proposed IndyCar of the future? Do you love it, hate it? Let us know. And tell us why you feel the way you do. What do you think of the Delta Wing IndyCar? We'll take a commercial break and come back with Eye Candy and Timothy Peters. Don't go anywhere.
Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain is presented by Golden Corral's Applewood Grill. It's all part of the legendary buffet, all for around $10.
Let's head to the end of the hour with the Golden Corral Help Yourself to Happiness moment. I take you to the Daytona truck race on Saturday night and a last lap pass that won the race. Watch Timothy Peters go to the bottom. That's Todd Bodine that he's battling. Todd bounces it off the wall, keeps his foot in it, and Peters stops Bodine's win streak at 2. He's the only guy ever to have won 2 at Daytona. Todd goes spinning after the checkered flag, but that makes no difference because Timothy Peters has helped himself to happiness. He wins the biggest truck race of the year. Well, I love it when it works out this way. Last call tonight is Timothy Peters, who won a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series thriller on Saturday night. Hey, Timothy, congratulations. How does winning at Daytona compare with last year in Martinsville when you got your first Truck Series win?
I tell you, Dave, words can't describe what I'm feeling. To win at Daytona with the history that's there, everybody wants to win at the World Center of Speed. It was very bittersweet last year to win my very first race in my hometown at Martinsville Speedway. But to win at Daytona is, I'm still on cloud nine. I tell my wife every every hour on the hour to pinch me to make sure that it isn't a dream.
That's cool. A bunch of good guys crashed, but the fact is you had to beat the toughest of the bunch to get to victory lane. Todd Bodine, how'd you make that work? How'd you track him down and get around him?
Well, we had a restart with Joe, and I stayed right in his tire tracks, and I learned a lot from Todd. After the race, I told him, I said, hey, you know, I went to Bodine 101. He taught me a lot about momentum around there. Jason White had such a great truck all night long. He got a great run coming off a 2 on the white flag lap. He went high to make a move. I went along with him. Todd moved up to block. The 23 got into me. I got in the back of Todd. I went back low, and we just prevailed to the win. You know, the good Lord was looking out for me, and we was able to come across the stripe in our K&N Filters Crescent Toyota Tundra. And what an incredible feeling to be there with the guys that work hard day in and day out at Red Horse Racing. I can't say enough about these guys. The Fab Shop, they are the backbone of our team. They spend countless hours preparing these trucks, and great trucks that I can drive. And you know, and Tom DeLoach for believing in me and giving me the opportunity when nobody else was out there. So I'm very fortunate with the surroundings that I have.
You did a terrific job. You took the tools they gave you and took them all the way to victory lane. In about 10 seconds, perfect way to start the season. Can you guys go all the way? Does this team have championship potential quickly?
Absolutely. Jeff Hensley, what a track record that he has. Made great calls throughout the race. You know, the way the upbringing that he and I have had, it feels like we've worked together for 20 years. So I'm looking very forward to the year. Our communication is perfect. And what a way to start the year off.
You got that right. Timothy, congratulations. Good luck. Thanks for being on Wind Tunnel tonight.
Thank you, Dave, for having me on, bud.
It's been an eventful evening here as we celebrate the first Wind Tunnel of the year and the 52nd running of the Daytona 500. Our television work is done, but there's a lot more bench racing still to be done over at speedtv.com. Click on the Wind Tunnel Extra button. We're going to have another half hour of discussion here. We'll talk about Danica Mania. I understand John Force is going to call us in the wake of the U.S. Nationals where he won the funny car class. Going to look ahead to next week briefly. We're going to have woman racing advocate Lynn St. James here. She is, by definition, I guess, an expert on Danica Mania. We'll have Formula One driver turned stock car racer Nelson Piquet Jr. to tell us about his first experience at Daytona. And we'll talk motorcycle racing. The Supercross Series is completely up for grabs this year, and the point leader is Ryan Dungey. So I hope you'll join us for that. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be here for the next, 39 more weekends, all the way through to the last NASCAR race of the year. I want to see you here every Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and I want to see you in about 15 seconds over at speedtv.com. Thanks for being here. I'm Dave Despain.